This conference will now be recorded.
Start this meeting off with a flag salute this morning. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to 2022 Marion County Commission meeting of January 3rd. It's a great new year. That's all. Everybody should be happy. We're in the new year. Everybody made it to the new year, so we'll start with the public forum. I only have one visitor in my audience here. I don't know if I have any online.
No.
With that, you've got a few minutes, 3 minutes if you're four. If you
Okay,
like them.
I'll do that. Guys, I just want to give you a
Rick,
go over there.
might say who you are.
Yep.
And
Thank you. Okay. Ricky Roberts with the Extension Office. I just wanted to give I'll try to be very brief here, update on our office moving so that you have an idea. Basically, our building is getting very close to done. I was going to say we're down to some, honestly, almost like punch-out items, and we're close to that point anyway. I'm waiting on Vive to get there for some phone internet things, and I still need to get a functioning restroom. So anyway, so those are, but we're awfully close, guys. We really are. And I think once we get that done, we would be in about a point where we could start living in it almost, okay? There's still a few things we're kind of waiting on, but I think we could move in while we continue to wait if we need to. So anyway, I still can't give you a firm date to when we're going to be out. Certainly I will tell you that our very hope is we'll get out here in January, okay? And I think we're close enough that I can kind of give that. And we could probably begin moving some things over now. We're not yet, but we probably could. But it's not quite ready to be lived in, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, so that's really kind of what I wanted to do, just to give you an update so you'll know. I know that I haven't been very good about that here this past fall, as we've been working on that darn thing, and you guys have been through more construction projects than I have been, and those are moving. You get what I'm saying?
Moving targets.
They really are. They really are. And it still may be. I'm not sure. But anyway, but I did want you to know that we're getting very close. Also, whatever we can do, whatever I can do, would love to give this board a tour of our building someday. And
Cool.
And would love to do that somehow. I don't know how we can do that, but I'll just throw that out there. And if you come up with something, let me know, and I would love to do that. Okay.
Ricky, thank you very much. And this board's pretty generous. We definitely wouldn't kick you out before you get a working.
I know, yeah. You all have been good and been patient. So anyway, but that's.
No, thank you for the update. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You can get a tour just like I did. I saw Tristan walking in there, so I just stopped.
Oh,
Yeah,
Show me around this place.
Yeah, she did, and there's even been a little bit done since then. So anyway, but no, we would be, but I'd be happy to do that, and if all of you here sometime, if I don't know if it can be a part of. I don't know how.
Just facilitate it through Tina, because we have to have a special meeting.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't know what laws we have to follow there, and maybe I will talk to you about that, Tina, sometime.
Whenever you're ready, we can put it on a regular commission day, and we can.
Is that what we can do?
Sure.
And do that? So
You gonna have a ribbon cutting?
We probably will. We've been actually talking about what we can do for the public, kind of a grand opening thing.
Maybe we
And
to coincide with that.
you know, I don't know. I'm not quite ready to do that just yet. But it's something that we've been talking about. I do believe that we'll probably try to do something. But anyway, so and maybe we do coincide with that. Maybe we do something a little bit before then. I don't know, guys. But anyway, we can figure that out, I guess.
I think that's a very good idea because there's a lot of people want to know what that new tax was on the tax roll.
It was no. You're correct, Randy. I've gotten those same phone calls.
Yeah,
As
what it was.
yes, I mean as director, I can tell you I deal with those same phone calls now.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I get them from 2 counties because they showed
Yep.
up on both counties.
Yep.
Okay, and so I get them from 2 counties. I agree with your comment
I
completely.
think that would be great to do that.
Yeah. And there's a part of that facility that is going to be for public to use. There's going to be public meeting facility there. So
Cool.
anyway,
Anybody else have anything?
Thanks for that.
if that helps you guys, that's kind of where we're at. And
Appreciate it.
okay, thanks you guys.
Thanks.
And I have nothing yet online.
Nope.
Okay. So moving on to agenda approval. I do have one addition down between, I'll go ahead and go through the meeting, public forum to the public, and then we'll have an executive session for acquisition of property, if it gets passed, and so we'll do that. In between that and the commission then we'll come back and have commission comments at the end. So that's the only addition that I have right now. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Okay, with that being said, I'm going to move on to administrative business, Tina, unless you had something else to add.
Nope, I don't.
Okay.
And I don't really have much administrative business today. Next week we'll have quite a bit for reorganization and,
Okay.
you know, beginning of year business. I don't have the minutes of 12:30 for you because they have not come back from the proofreading yet.
Okay.
So I'll have those next week. The only thing that I have then would be land bank funding and potential transfer of the 202 South Olive from Marion County to the land bank.
Okay. I would entertain, would you like to go to that real quick then? Is that what you?
Well, I put that on under administrative.
Put it on under-
The
okay.
land bank funding was listed under administrative, and then I think that you could go ahead and do the approval of the land transfer.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve 25,000 on the pilot to the land bank. Second.
Have a motion to take 25,000 out of the pilot payment from the wind farm payment for land bank seed money, base money to start with. Have a second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor, or is there any other discussion? No other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
I'd also like to make a motion to approve the transfer of 202 South Olive and Peabody to the land bank.
I'll second that one. I have a motion by Jonah to transfer 202 South Olive in Peabody, Kansas to the Marion County Land Bank. Second by me. All those in favor of that, unless there's some discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
I'm wondering if you want to make another motion to have the deed prepared and authorize whoever the chairman is to sign the deed so that Sean did. Or do you just want to do it during, you could do it during your next the next commission meeting after the deed is ready.
We can take care of it then.
Yeah, so moved.
What was your motion?
So the motion is to have the deed prepared and authorize the chairman of the board to sign.
I'll second that, or was it seconded?
No. Have a motion by Jonah, second by Kent Becker. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay.
Now, can we help you take care of more business that way?
Oh, that's great.
That's
That's
great,
all I
okay.
have.
Okay.
So once that's prepared, if it's not in conjunction with a meeting, whoever the chairman is will still have the authority to sign it. And then,
Okay.
once that's done, we'll report back that it has been done. So,
All right. You have a salary sheets change order?
I do not have any of those
Okay.
today.
Okay.
The only other thing is, don't forget about the storage. I know did you ever get a list of like things you want in the agreement to Brad so he can draft that agreement for the storage?
For the storage building over there? No.
Right.
No, we haven't, and as of last week, it wasn't moved yet.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that we have that done
Okay.
and things moved.
Did the equipment get moved?
No, I don't know about this week, haven't heard nothing. So, I was told that, have to make sure that the sheriff's office could help him. That's all I was told. So, moving on to,
Do you need me to schedule that on the agenda for next week?
what's that?
Or the storage and try to get any other departments here, or are you okay with just?
Maybe I need to talk to Rob, see if he might be able to get something done. I don't know.
Does it have to be the sheriff's department?
Well, it wouldn't have to be, but that's who Mr. Frank told me.
They would take care of moving the equipment?
Well, he needs help. I mean,
Yeah.
He-
Yeah.
he needs help backing trailers and things like that in.
Well, my understanding, there's some issues with the storage there. Is that right?
Starts at the door.
The north door will not accept big campers. Only the south door will do that. We put the little one in, or the big one in last year at COVID pods. We just have to go try it.
Everything fits except for the antenna trailer.
I heard there are also some issues with accessibility. I mean, if you're gonna have auction trailers parked in front of emergency equipment, those have to be moved. if
I
you need
thought the
access.
lane was to be open at all times. That was a requirement of it, to be open, so there is nothing. If it needs to come out at 2 o'clock in the morning, it can be accessed and be done, yeah.
So that's one thing that needs to be. in the
Yes,
that needs to be-
Yes, that
Needs to be
yes,
specified.
that's number one thing. And vice versa for them too. We don't need to block them.
Right.
So,
And so,
I know this is off topic, off agenda item, going into detail. Does anybody have a plan B? Why are we getting so much resistance on this? Is there a plan B?
no.
Then why don't we just get it done?
We had one plan, and
Yeah.
it was supposed to have been done by.
And we gotta see
end of
whether it
the year.
works. I mean, if there is a problem, Dave, that's what we need to know right now so we can come up with plan B.
I guess I'm gonna circle back to where Tina was before, getting it on the agenda. And I would sure suggest having both of the department heads that are involved, emergency management and the sheriff,
Yeah.
find out for sure
Okay.
if they're on board with the plan.
Yeah.
And then we could go through the points that we need to include in the agreement
Right.
at that time.
Yes, yeah, so they're involved in that process.
Yeah.
We can go out.
The points and,
I think we have to
What the
get it on
requirements
the
are.
agenda for next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we are talking about two departments' equipment.
yeah,
It's not just one.
right.
Well, and also appraiser has stuff in there.
Yeah, there's
There's a lot of people.
parts of stuff in there.
Oh, we're
Right.
already,
And I don't know whether
last
we're gonna,
month.
I don't know whether we're gonna, yeah, we've done have the meeting, but I don't know whether we're gonna be able to get the
So,
storage.
do we need to include the appraiser?
I put that on.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, if nothing else, I think the appraisers department may have to go to a storage unit if we can't get it in that building too, and keep it out of the way, you know? And then we don't know whether they need to be locked. The appraisers, we don't know whether
They said that the information that is stored there is not all
Okay.
public information, so yeah, it would need to be secured.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, Dave.
And-
that-
$5,000, I think I seen the last one.
I don't know
So you set one over
how many years a lot of that stuff needs to be stored, or,
I asked them, and it's a 5-year retention, I think. They have 2 or 3 years here, and then the stuff that's being stored off-site is the final couple of years.
so do we know that if they're destroying documents after that time period? rather
believe
than
they
just
are.
storing them?
Yeah, so there's
I
not.
saw the shredded truck here this morning.
I asked about it.
Yeah.
So it was, like you said, pretty much like years 4 and 5.
Yeah. The only other thing would be and we did that for the health department, I don't know if the health department's back behind here, I think.
Or where's their dumpster, their
Their pod
trailer?
is still over there.
Their pod.
It is over here, isn't it?
No.
It's up there?
Mhm.
Out the, out in public.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Across the street
But
from.
we
the-
have bought a
All right.
bought a tray or pod, one of those deals, and put that, did that, that was about 3,500 then, I think they're higher now.
Yeah,
It wasn't
they're hard to
big.
come by right now.
I was gonna say, I think they are. They're a little tough.
Well,
Most of them
don't
are
they
stuck
have
on
another
the ship.
trailer up there too? That,
They had a trailer and then they had their safe kids, but I noticed that
Yeah.
some of that's sitting over
They're scattered
here.
around.
Yeah. But I believe their pod's still over
And
there.
no matter what, it is one of our items that we just need to get addressed
We've only got till
The end of the
the
month.
end of the month.
in the month. There you go. That's,
So if we didn't have a plan B, we better
Better
get
have one.
after it.
yeah.
At the lake hall. Somebody said nothing.
Okay. Well, we got it on the agenda,
Okay.
and maybe take time to talk to Rob and see if maybe he don't have time, but he can at least tell us, give us some advice, what if he don't have people to spare, well, then we'll have to come up with plan B. So, to do it, so.
You were just talking about the appraisers and stuff. Yeah.
All righty, Isaac, just start with you. Park Lake.
All right. Good afternoon. I'll just start here. Got a couple things just to kind of do a little update on what we have going on out at the lake and kind of some things that we plan on doing here before things pick up this spring. To start, I'll say we went ahead. The heated dock's officially open. We did. They were having some issues with the thermostat. The week before Christmas, we opened it up. It didn't have heat, but it was nice enough. People didn't mind. And then last Monday, they came out, got the thermostat running. So the heater was done. We were able to get up the skirting around the bottom to try to keep airflow from coming in. And everything's been going very smoothly since. We haven't had any issues. You know, there's been some things that have kind of come up that we've been changing on the go. There's a couple things that we still have left to do. There's some plastic bumpers that go around the outside of the dock to protect the corners of the concrete pavers. So those still need to be put up. And then I got all of our signs in. So we started putting those up. We still have a couple more signs to get up. And then we have our fish cleaning station to get up. We got the aerators on before it got real cold this weekend, so those have been running. But really good feedback. You know, there's always a couple things that people might like to see different, but overall we've had really, really positive feedback on the dock. Guys have been catching a lot of fish, so that always helps. But it's been a popular place here the last couple weeks.
Did you tell them that we agreed to, that there's some things we'd like to see
Yeah,
different?
right, yep. And that's it, and everybody's understanding, and it's been a good thing that it's reopened. I'll let you know, we turned everything over to our insurance company right here before Christmas, and he got back to me and he said that they're processing the second check and should be coming our way anytime. So that's where we're at on the dock. The other thing that we kind of had working was the dam. They came out, that would have been the week before Christmas, and did their official survey. Brian called me here last week. They are meeting with DWR this upcoming Monday. They have all their whole plans processed. They have the surveys turned over. So we talking to him this morning. He said pretty much the next steps is at that meeting. They're going to show what the survey shows. They're going to show their proposal. The state's already DWR's looked at it, and they're going to talk about any types of concerns or changes or whatever the case may be, as far as what they want to see done or need to see done. And then he said as soon as that's done, he'd get back to us to see if they're going to have to change anything or what the case is there. So we should know more on that here this upcoming Monday the 10th. on what they have to say about what they have drawn up. Next, I'll give you guys, so I went ahead and went through here. Let's see, this will be our bait shop expense and revenue report from, I think it was like the 15th of May through the end of the year. So I will, there's 6 there. I don't know, if, Tina, if you want one or not. But.
You betcha.
If you want to look over that, or if you have any questions for me, we ended up turning a profit. I will say, if you look, I tried to break it out monthly for you, and if you look, it seems like the only month that we were negative would have been for the month of May, which is when we purchased our
Initial
new,
investment.
purchased our new equipment and got everything to get up and running. It's still a work in progress. Kind of as we go, we've been switching things out and changing things. You know, this type of year, I'm not really doing anything for catfish or bass. It's pretty much all crappie, and I haven't really restocked the grocery part of the store here this time of year, but there's not really any interest of it. So kind of as we go, we'll continually do that. But that's another thing that since the dock is open, business has increased tremendously. October, November were pretty quiet, and then here the end of this month especially, we've had a lot of bait sales. But overall, I mean, I feel like it's been a great addition to have out there. A lot of positive feedback on that. A lot of people happy to see it, and overall, I feel like it's gone pretty well.
Is there any discussion on what the commission sees?
This looks good. I think something we'd probably hope to break even the first year.
It's I see it's only gonna get better.
Yeah, and I do too. I think, you know, the main months are always going to be April through August, pretty much. September sometimes just kind of depends, but the fact that we missed the big spring fishery and then we didn't get, looking at that, we didn't actually get bait until it was after the 4th of July. So really in May and June, we probably missed out on quite a bit of sales as well there as far as bait goes. But yeah, I was pleased with how the year turned out.
Okay, my question is, and I question ever lake director just ahead of you. So
Yes.
This is nothing new.
Yep.
Did you have any extra labor for this?
We did not.
You didn't go with that?
We didn't.
That was discussed early?
It was discussed early. We put out an ad in the paper and posted it on our Facebook. We just didn't get any interest in it. I don't know. We talked about possibly trying again this summer because it was kind of late, but there were times where there were some things that we would like to have been able to do where we were just too busy to really leave the office. So I mean, it was nothing that we were unable to handle. I mean, there were some times that it was a little hectic, but no, we ended up not having any extra help. It was just Adam.
Okay. The only difference was there was some times that you could have had some field people out and he was in the office. That's the only difference. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
And if you're gonna have a lot more sales,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
an employee would come out of the expenses
Yeah.
of this.
And I was gonna say, you know, really Monday through Friday is not an issue. It's Saturday and Sunday. That really, I mean, Monday through Friday we can do that any time of the week. Sometimes on the weekends it does get a little hectic out there with everything going on. And so an extra person, really Saturday and Sunday, it'd go a long ways for us.
Well, I don't think there's, for being down as long as we were, I don't think there's any change in what's happening then. I mean, that's pretty well same track as what we was on. So, great deal. Go ahead.
Go ahead and give you another piece of paper. So this will be this is strictly county permits from the lake for the entire year. It's broken out by trailer rent, lake haul, and then other county permits, boat permits, camping permits, that kind of thing. Down at the bottom on the 2021 total, you can see we ended up at $120,356.25. In perspective, every year since 2000, I don't have a record in the office from before 2018, but 2018 we ended up at 100,000. 2019 we were at 107,851. 2020 we were at 111,494. So the past 4 years we're headed in the right direction. But I wanted to show you this as well to kind of see. We actually had a fairly busy March this year, but really April through August are our busy times. So I just wanted to show you this as well, and we're doing better than we have done. You know, blue-green algae, all that kind of stuff always comes into play, and you never really know. But overall, we did have a really good year, and you know, it's one thing. Coronavirus, I think, has helped the lake business quite a bit.
Hopefully the memory retention.
Yeah.
Maybe it just, you know, created some habits and they
Right.
just stay that way.
I'm just putting this a reminder out to the commission. Sort of watch the trailer park, we have not upped the cost for that. How many trailers do you have for empty, or lots do you have empty right now?
Actually, right now, I do not have any.
Any.
They are all owned. There's none for sale.
There was one.
There's 2 trailers. Well, and so I was going to say there's 2 trailers that have new owners that are completely gutting everything and redoing it, that aren't actively living in there.
Wow.
But as far as anything for sale, I don't have anything at the moment. And that's kind of been another thing that we've seen. You know, I know when I started, there were always pretty much 4 or 5 that were up. But it seems like when they've been put up for sale within a week, they're gone.
When you have that, and you said they're living in there, but they're staying there, but.
Yeah, right.
But how does the transaction happen to them to let them know that there's only so much time allowed to stay in that?
Yeah, so the way that works is every time someone puts one for sale, they'll come into the office, let us know. Pretty much what I tell them is before any type of transaction or purchase is made, I'd like to visit with them. So then the new owner comes in and I give them a lease agreement and just tell them to look over it. And if they bring it back, if they have any questions or concerns, and we'll go over it that way.
That's a great deal, because, I mean, it eliminates a problem later on for you, and
Well, and I know that's kind of, we didn't do that at first, and it
Yeah.
did cost, people would buy them without knowing any of the
Yeah.
rules. And then they'd come in and say, well, they didn't, so-and-so didn't tell me this.
Yeah.
And we did run into that a couple times, but since then, we got that pretty much worked out for the most part.
good deal.
And then normally when a new owner purchases, we'll do an inspection of some sort, walk through and kind of go over everything with them. And
Good deal.
but yeah, the trailers have been another popular thing. But like you said, I know, at least I don't know the last time it was raised, but since I've been here, I don't think we've changed the prices of anything out of the lake. Trailer rent, camping, lake haul,
It's
any
been
of that
at least
stuff.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Not more. That's for the commission to think about.
I mean,
Yes.
simply raise the camping.
We always take advice from what the director, you know, whether,
It's time,
yeah.
right time of year to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, whether we're in the ballpark, whether we want to stay under the other ballparks, and just where we want to be it's just something to, you know, think about. So,
I think our department has a better handle on that. And if you feel like we're too cheap on something, you tell us.
yeah.
Well, and I know, and we talked about this, I think, briefly last year. I think it's a fine line, because a lot of people come to our park because we are cheaper, instead of going to a state
Right.
park or
Yeah,
a
you don't
reservoir.
want to run people off.
Right, I will say that there's some, I mean, a lot of our actual campgrounds our primitive campgrounds are great. People love them, you know, they're able to go out there in the tent. Our campgrounds with hookups, they could use a little upgrade. I think with the upgrade, you could very well look at then a cost increase, price increase of camping. I think maybe until that,
Electrical upgrade or?
yeah, that's the big thing. It's just if we could go from 30 amp to 50 amp.
Yes.
And there's the campground behind the lake hall really needs to be re-leveled. The sites need to be re-leveled, which isn't a lot of work, but there's some issues there. And the big one is just the pedestals, the 30 amp. A lot of people with all the 50 amp rigs, they can come out, but they're only running 1/8.
Most of the new campers are 50.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of them, yeah.
What's the cost to upgrade from 30 to 50?
Well, and I would need to talk. A lot of it depends, because I know we have 2 other campgrounds. One of them, I know for a fact, because we've done it when they were damaged. It's able to handle the 50 amp because the service line there is big enough. I do not know with
How
the
big the
campground
service-
behind the lake hall. If you'd have to replace that, then I think and Jonah probably knows a little bit more than I do on this, but I know that if that's not large enough, then that's gonna be
Big
a
expense.
big expense compared to just being able to go in there and swap it out with a 30 to a 50.
Swap and sell.
We have. And so that's kind of something I think if we could get that done, then you could probably justify a price increase of camping. I know right now the reservoir, depending on where you stay, you're pretty much all the state lakes, you're between 22 and 28. There's some in the state of Kansas as high as like 40 at night, and we're sitting at 14. So we're quite a bit lower. Calling around and talking to a couple other the smaller lakes, city lakes, county lakes, it seems like they're between right where we're at 16 and 20. There's some of them that are a lot higher if you get towards like Kansas City that are up $25, $30 a night. But we are definitely on the cheaper end of the lakes.
A lot of the camp people that come in, are they loading up, or can you get a feel for that? Are they loading up on groceries before they come? Are they waiting till they come through? Or because if they're honestly making purchases here
yeah.
to stay out there,
Yeah.
we don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, well, and I do feel like you get a majority of people come out with a set amount of things, but there's people always running in town. Because I just know that because there's people that are coming in the office looking for things that I don't have, and they end up going to town or calling and asking about where they can get certain items or whatever the case may be. But I do think there's a fair amount of people that are out there that come and do business in town, and that's kind of, you don't want to. And I've had the conversation with a lot of people that camp out there, kind of the same thing that we're having here is, you raise your price up to a lot of those state lakes that when you pull in, you have your sewer hookup, you have your water hookup, you have your electrical hookup, and it's a concrete pad with a picnic table and umbrella. If you're gonna charge the same amount as a site like that, they're not
Better
gonna
have all those amenities.
Yeah, right. And so that's just kind of, right now it seems like, we're good with where we're at. Price increase a couple dollars a night, I don't think it's gonna make a big difference, but I think if we could show something to justify, hey, we're doing this to continually try to improve, I think that'll help.
Commissioner Beal?
Of course, now I get children. I guess what I had in mind is other commissioners would be interested. I would ask if Isaac could come back with a proposal to upgrade some campsites as far as what he sees as appropriate. Because I think now is the time to do it.
Yep.
And Isaac would know what would be the best bang for the buck, where the biggest need is. If the rest of the commission would agree, if you could come back with a proposal for us. I mean, because now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, this is the best time.
Upgrading electrical, if there's
Yeah,
some
right.
sites need to be leveled,
Yeah.
get in and get that upgraded.
The being county, is it, how some places you get your donors and then they get their little plaque with their name. It doesn't mean they own the spot or anything, but is that against the rules being county?
I do not know the answer to that one.
I don't think so. I don't think it's against the rules,
You
but.
can put a bench out there, I know that.
Well, I was just saying, because, not necessarily making improvements, but future campsites or something,
Right.
you might be able to.
Well, that's kind of another thing, like talk about future campsites. That's another thing that I don't necessarily think needs to be looked at the moment. I think better off probably improving what we have before we go to adding more. But I do know that, you know, seems like every year 3-4 weekends out of the year where, you know, the supply is higher, or the demand is higher than our supply. You know, I'd like that number to be a little bit higher before you decide that, yeah, it's worth adding more sites, but I think something, you know, sometime in the near future might be worth looking at.
Sometimes it also allows for your disruption.
Well,
You get a new site over here.
Yeah, right.
So you can go stay over there while we improve this site
This
over
one,
here.
But if you start looking for donors, that's a different animal.
I know.
They want a tax deduction, so you got a 501(c) set up, you know, as Friends of the County Lake, or,
Yeah.
you know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, I think I have one question. This bottom line looks good and everything.
Yes.
What I don't see is year-ending electric costs, year-ending water costs, year-ending expenses.
Yeah.
And that's, all we're trying to do is not lose money.
Yes.
I mean, by any means, so.
If you
yeah,
want me to, I can get something put together and brought back.
You know,
with-
but I don't know how it compares to 5 years ago.
Right.
Is it up 10,000 over
Right.
5 years ago? I mean, that's just something that's, with what looks good on this end, we gotta know what the other end, expense end is too, as far as electric and things like that. For that area, not
Right.
not for the whole lake, but
Right.
Bit of a fishing
just for
license
the,
fish up there.
just for the trailer area and the camping area.
Campsites and everything. Okay.
So thank you. I mean, that's been a great report. It's good to see we're back on track, Isaac, and good to hear those kind of comments from the people that's using the dock. Because there's some people that don't feel that we needed to do that, but that's because they don't fish probably.
Right.
I've seen somebody ask, what's it cost to go fishing out there?
Yeah.
You saw.
Yeah.
I think the city.
It's like Marion County taxpayers pay for that, and they get to come use it for free? Thanks,
What
thanks,
else,
Marion
we
County.
could put a donation dish out there.
what else city permits?
So on the revenue, this sheet here, yeah, so that would be your Marion County boat permits, the permits that allow them to ski and tube and do all that stuff. It would be our ATV permits. It would be all of the camping permits, and then we talk like boat storage, and that would pretty much be everything under those county permits there.
Okay.
Speaking of boat storage, how are you coming on that?
Well,
Is that-
and that
okay.
I have, so that'll be next.
Okay, all right.
This might be another conversation that we're gonna have to have when Brad is here.
Okay.
So since I've been out at the lake, I've never had any, besides the storage, as far as trailers go, I've never had any issues with collecting rain. There has been one trailer here this year that I have.
Okay.
I have this here, I'll hand this out. This is what I have sent to the trailer owner now twice, just to kind of show you guys what I've done. But I was really gonna try to talk about what the next steps would be. You can take one of these and pass it around. So the front page is just kind of an informal letter saying your rent is late and you owe this much through the year. The second page would be what we attach, which is just a page out of our lease agreement, kind of stating the policy on late rent. I have not heard from the individual since March of last year. And so, well, sorry, March 21.
March of 21?
Yeah,
Okay.
March 21, yeah. But I've sent, the first one I just sent the front page, then the second time we sent it out, I attached the back page. And so I just would like to know kind of what the next steps would be, what I would need to do moving forward. I know that we've been taking care of the property just for a visual sense. And then kind of along with this, there's two on the storage. There's still the same two that we talked about that I'd like to do something with. Everything else is all, as far as the storage goes, is perfect, except those two that are way past due, and then this one trailer rent.
Would the board be okay with giving a directive to Isaac to get a hold of Brad and
Yeah.
get caught up on this situation so that he has some help to continue forward to
Right.
collect?
It'll require legal
Yeah.
notices.
They live close by and they're in Wichita.
So,
It's somewhere out there by Wichita. It's not Wichita, but he's out there.
But that's a directive then to you, Isaac, is to go ahead and get a hold of Brad.
Okay.
Make contact with him, email or phone, either way.
Okay.
And you let him, send him a copy of what you've done so far, and let him know, and then ask for some help for the next step to collect what's due to us.
Okay. And then I think my last item here would be to ask the commission permission to get bids for a tree job out at the lake. I don't think, for the most part, nothing is dire that needs to be cut immediately, but if we could get the bids out, get bids back, and then so we can make sure just that it's done before spring is really my big concern. There's some big ones that are down on the swimming beach, and our plan is to get those out so we can completely, we're gonna try to grind the stumps out, re-sand the beach area, and then everything else is dead and overhanging the roadway or overhanging campgrounds, mostly dead and stuff like that. But there's some that are just too big for us to be able to get. And so that's the last thing, is just to see if we could get bids to get that stuff taken care of here.
Okay, on your, go ahead and put you a bid sheet together,
Okay.
marking the trees.
Yep.
Also, put a acknowledgement on the bid that when pay date is, when they have to have their receipts to the county clerk or you by that date,
Okay.
so that they can be paid on such and such date.
Okay.
Because that was one complaint we had the last time we did this from a tree person. They wanted paid when the job was done, and that needs to be known when they bid, that it's gonna be
End of month.
end of the month. It has to be in with the 20th or 20th, I believe. And so that way they know, they don't, that could have been our fault for not having them not acknowledged the first time, so.
Should know that, working with the government.
Well, yeah.
Make sure they're insured.
Yeah, besides all the other.
If
this
they're
is
gonna,
one
if they're gonna be
step.
dropping,
Yeah.
dropping trees over the top of the lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get it together so give us a clue what you've done, or so,
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay. I think that was it for me. If you guys have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to try to answer.
Move full speed ahead for the 1st of May so everybody can be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Any other comments, commission?
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Next up on the list, we have Road and Bridge, Bryce Scoble.
Hey now.
With Road and Bridge.
Afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Bryce. It is a good afternoon.
Still up to you.
I'll find out from the other guy who moved to
That first meeting's.
13.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Didn't really have a lot for you, just kind of update over the last several weeks to month. Believe it or not, we are still waiting on the FEMA money. She came back and they needed all the actual invoices that we paid our rock in 2019. So we gave her another stack of paperwork, and she thinks that's all we're gonna need, but anyway, so we're still waiting.
Can we go off the appreciated value by now?
You know, I'm just, after, it's been 2.5 years since the damage, and it's been 1.5 years since we've started the process, and so, they love their paperwork, that's all I got to say, so. I talked to you before about Christmas. I'd like to go out for bids on a new grapple fork for one of our John Deeres, and then a new bucket for the Volvo. We've got that 4-in-1 on that Volvo, and it really hurts us for capacity as well as lifting. So
This is on your loaders?
yeah, the new bucket will be on the Volvo. We have that 4-in-1 now, and then the grapple bucket would be good for trees and stuff like that. So,
On the John Deere?
yeah, yeah, so,
You got 2 John Deeres?
yes. Yeah, so, just want to be nice for trees, so. We received word that, between Christmas and New Year's, they were gonna come pick up the Mack truck, which they did. The insurance company or whoever purchased it, so that is now out of our hands, so.
Followed it down Main Street.
Did you? Yeah.
It's last week.
Yep. Yep. So, and then we had, don't know if you guys were, we had 2 damaged guardrails. I think one was middle part of November, and then one was like the week after Thanksgiving, I believe. One of them was on Indigo, right north of 130th, hit an intersection, and then the biggest one was actually on the county line road on our 70th and Harvey County 108th, just east of Indigo. Somebody took out pretty much over half of the south rail on that bridge. Harvey County actually investigated the crash because it was on the south side of that road, which would be Harvey County. Anyway, I talked to the local contractor that does most of the guardrail in the state. He sent me in bids. I've sent them off to the insurance company. So hopefully they're getting fixed this week, and then the insurance companies are all on board as far as damage. And it's a total of let's say $9,000 for both of them, which I thought was very, very good. So, but anyway, those will be taken care of. So we kind of had a little bit of conversation, I don't know if you guys remember, about replacing end sections and upgrading guardrail and stuff like that. Basically, by following up with it, I talked to Brad as well, as it sounds like we're okay to replace in kind unless, like on these end sections, we have a chance to improve the end section. So right now, on the one on Indigo, it basically just has a straight shoe, which is as the guardrail comes out, it just flattens out like this. What we're actually gonna do is we're actually gonna put the round or the curved portion on the end of there. It's an upgraded end section that provides a little more, but still, it's hardly anything in price compared to the old one. So, but anyway, what they said, as long as we basically replace it in kind as much as we can. There's actually, and I was not aware of this, that a lot of these concrete guardrails that we have on these culverts throughout the county, you notice the rails have been knocked off. Basically, what they've come back with study shows, as long as there's not more than an 8-foot drop off behind that, they actually are better to be removed than they are left in place. Simply because they create more of a hindrance or damage if they get hit, as compared to the car went over the top of it, they'd end up in the bottom of the ditch, might possibly hit a tree or whatever else. But anyway, that's kind of the latest and greatest thing. So some of these out there that haven't been there for so long, it all comes down to the fact is of where the accident happens, and if they hit one, and then the attorneys get involved. But anyway, that's what a couple of the studies have shown, that to do that. But I also found out that we've got a lot of bridges in the county that are rated at, was it 15 or 17 tons? And come to find out, the reason that they were rated at that is that when they were designed back in the 30s and 40s, that was the maximum rating that they had at the time. And nobody has since come back and said that we can raise them or lower them because that's what they were designed for. So I thought that it was really interesting, because all the years I've been around here, I've never realized that. For instance, I think that the Goldenrod Bridge up there, same thing with that. When it was built, that was the maximum design allowable.
So when they're inspected, can they be reclassified, or?
They will never go up.
They will never go up.
Simply because when they were designed for a max. Yes, that was designed maximum.
Okay.
And because I wondered, because structurally there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Other than short spans or whatever else. But you can always go down with it if it has girder end damage or rail damage or whatever else.
And you go down with it just to limit your liability.
Pretty much. Hardly ever will your rails or anything else come into play there. It's going to be just an overload or whatever else. Because, those guardrails are good as long as they're not hit or damaged. But I've seen some of those rails, they get hit by a semi and they'll just take the whole thing off, and then you got to start over. So,
All of the stakes that you see in the south end with the pink flags labs with pink flags, is that electrical or is that wind farms? Is that for the electrical improvement or is that for the wind farm coming to town?
Everything that I know should be with Evergy on the electrical stuff. Because we have not got a plan that I know of from the wind farm that will.
The reason why I'm asking you, Bryce, is because I just worked a locate this morning, and north of Peabody on Old Mill, north of 100th, and what it says on there is that they're cross-boring the for the road width, and so my question to you is, why are we drilling the road to get a sample for the road? I mean,
Well, the only thing that I could think of, that coming out of Peabody, coming over that way, that was the wrecking of the old line. Now, I don't know why, I guess I don't remember seeing anything about a boring underneath that line, but.
well, it says cross-bore, so I don't know what that means. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everything as far as I know is with Evergy, because we haven't received anything from the wind farm as to exactly what they're gonna do and what roads, so.
well, that's what I thought. We ought to know if it is wind farm, I would think.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Like I said, Sharon and I, neither one have received any more information on that, so.
And I didn't work last week, but the guy that works a bunch of them around from Peabody to Merritt to Olney to north of Olney and around the Peabody area said it was wind farms. So
Okay.
that was, and if you notice, it's coming from Minnesota. That's where some of the wind farms our old one was out of.
The
so-
original.
Yeah, so
Not
that's
the one
why
that-
I'm
yeah.
asking you.
Unless they're paying for their own surveys.
Well, the only other thing that I could think about is I do know that the engineering company that's doing the study of the roads and everything else, was starting to do some of the work on, or at least starting the process on the roads. The other thing I could think of is if they were doing a boring on the road and there was a line, but like I said, why it'd be a cross
But
boring?
it takes boring samples, I think, cross-boring samples, and to me, they're just gonna take a sample, I mean.
Well, now, if it's a sample, they could be taking samples of the dirt and just, for geology purposes. But, yeah, I was not aware of that, and I guess I can follow up with Sharon, but she hasn't said anything about it either, so.
Or if I can get a copy of the tickets, see if I can get a copy of the ticket,
Yeah,
and maybe I'll call back to him and just ask him
Yeah.
what's going on. 'Cause I was just hearing that from my other guy.
Yeah.
And
but if you could find out the company that was doing it, then,
where's Dad?
Orsted is the new developer, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I'll look on that ticket.
Okay. That'd be news to me.
Get
Well,
your pickup out there and ask.
And where are you with that? Did we develop a plan with the other company with you and the other company on roads?
Expedition Wind did not ever specifically state what roads they were looking at. That's kind of been in limbo for the last year. And that's what we've been talking to Orsted about the last couple of months as well, is I really can't do anything as far as road and bridge or whatever else until I know which routes they're looking to do, structures and things like that.
Yeah.
We did talk about, one of the elective things that they were going to do was do a inspection of, all the existing culverts and stuff like that. And they said that was elective, and I said, I'm gonna require that. That's the biggest thing that I'm concerned about, is what things are like now compared to when you're done.
Right.
The surface of the road and things like that, that's something that's pretty visual, but that stuff underneath there, that can kind of be hidden, so. But anyway, they agreed, they said not a problem, so. But other than that, we haven't heard any more since about, I don't know, November maybe?
I'm just gonna tell you that I would like that if you feel in doubt of anything that's going on between you and the wind farms, to have legal advice, please do so.
Sure.
Because
Well,
we just heard how Brad just said we don't want no short arm contracts
yep,
and stuff, so, just, if there's anything that's coming
Yeah.
up, because I think they're getting ready to fire up.
well, that's what we've been waiting for, is
Yeah.
that specific information, and so, I mean.
They've got to provide us a road maintenance agreement
Yeah.
Well-
under the CPU, under the conditional use permit.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just touching base to make sure that it hadn't been done, and I don't,
Yeah.
us, the commission, don't know about it.
No, I mean, again, I haven't seen anything, and Sharon and I have been communicating quite a bit
Okay.
as far as that stuff, and she hasn't said anything to me about it, so.
Well, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to go over.
Well, I'm like anybody else, I wanna make sure our roads are taken care of and, all the way through that, cause that's the main, cause those roads are gonna be there well after they're done with construction and very little use.
And I personally hope we end up with a product, what I hear, what I see, like the North End product has been, is good roads
Yeah.
and rock on them, and that they stays there, and,
Yeah.
you know.
But like I said, that's all the stuff that we haven't even got down to details about,
Okay.
so. But,
Good deal.
other than that, been pretty slow. Most of my guys were off last week, taking 3 days off in there. We are gonna start putting some riprap on that Goldenrod Bridge, that we just got done with to help with erosion if there is any around there. Otherwise, we're still waiting on, to go on these other projects. But other than that, not much going on. So we were all plowed up, ready for the 4 to 8 inches of snow and ice, and this morning we spent de-plowing, so.
Did we treat any intersections?
No. With the weather being like it is, I mean, again, all we'd be doing is putting down sand, but I think you look out there now, almost all
Well,
of
no,
it's
it wouldn't be
gone.
good now.
Yeah, we had one blade man that called yesterday. He did go out and we had quite a bit of drifts up in the northwest. So he said, yeah, there's 2-3 foot drifts, and one of them was on 330th, one over Roxbury.
Yeah.
Yep. And so he said it basically was in areas where there was grass, up around guardrails or whatever else. But he said, yeah, it was. He couldn't really believe it. We had a little bit in section 2 as well, up on the north end, but otherwise not too much. So, other than that,
I did see a motor grader going down old 56 over noon hour, and in the back window it says hiring grader on it.
Yeah.
Or grader, hiring grader
Yeah.
man or
Blade
something.
man.
Blade man, yeah, there you go.
and you know,
They're in
on-
the ditches here and
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
I've seen them all over.
yeah, we got those 2 Baker brothers for a little bit. Actually, it is, now whether it's the signs or not, obviously we got to get another guy, Perry over there in Lehigh, Tyler Bentz, come back as you sign that. And we've had contact, we have 2 more people to call that are interested as well.
Really? Good.
So,
Good
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna play out, but if
Yeah.
it was that signs, it was
Yeah.
a very, very
Very
good investment,
Yes.
good investment,
Yeah.
so.
That's cool.
And it was, I did send a message to the Catman and said, hey, it's January, when are the motor graders coming? Cause they always said, wait till the first of the year. Haven't heard back, but I will tell you that I think if we go to get rid of these old motor graders, we are gonna be absolutely shocked what they're gonna bring. They just sold they sold 2 1999 motor grader 148, just like we would have up here in western Texas. In 1999, only had 3,500 hours, brought $97,000.
That's a little different, so between 3,500 hours and 18,000.
Well, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but the other one they had was a little over 5,000 hours, and it sold for it sold for over 90,000. So evidently, if they're like everybody else, you can't find equipment, you're going whatever you can, so, but anyway, so we're looking to get things lined up there too,
I
so.
have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of VIN or serial numbers or anything yet?
That's-
Because we
that's-
haven't been able to go out for financing.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to find out.
Okay.
Yeah, because he told me after the first year, he was hoping to find out that information, so. Yeah, I'll get it to you as soon as I can, that's why I was asking, so.
If you could leave me a couple references with cat people and John Deere people, I'm looking for some equipment for this cemetery in Peabody.
Okay.
And just give me a list of who they are, so I
Okay.
can call them.
I can probably tell you right now that they're gonna tell you we don't have much.
Yeah.
About everything is going through the auctions right now, whether it's Purple Wave or, is it machinery? Then there's Big Iron, that's pretty much where everything's going, so.
I'm looking at leases, just
Oh,
to
okay.
see what leases we do.
Yep.
So-
Okay.
I do want to compliment our new blade man from Lehigh.
Okay?
I have seen some of his roads and I am impressed.
Yes. I would.
I don't know him, but I want to thank him, but evidently he definitely knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we have been extremely impressed with him. He took to the training very, very well, put him out there, and we have actually heard from others. Yeah.
Be careful about getting too in-depth on
Yeah,
performance.
but we've heard from other constituents out there as well. So, but,
I'm just gonna put that out there. I've been in trouble for this before.
yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, it's we'd love to have people like that. So, anything else?
I don't have nothing except, no, nothing at this time, I guess. No, I don't have-
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
Well, that's the end of our regular meeting. As far as agenda items, Tina, do you need anything right now?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Public forum. We have nobody in the commission meeting room. Do I have anything online that anybody has to say?
You do not have any public online or comments.
Okay, if I don't have public, don't have nothing here, I'm gonna move to go into executive, we'll go into executive session, and then we'll come back after the executive session and have commission comments afterwards, or I guess I could have them now. Let's have them at the end.
Any commission comments?
Do we have?
The only thing I'd bring up is the premium pay and when we would start discussion on that.
I had some comments from my wife on that. She read Harvey County's to me. Premium pay. Tina, is there a possibly date that you think we could start discussion and have anything?
Okay, so you're doing commission comments now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, since it's.
Sorry, I kinda just moved it in there. so
Yeah,
that
since
way-
we moved it in there, and we'll get it over with, and we'll go into executive session.
Well, don't we have to wait on the framework?
Yeah.
Yes, so the framework, it's like 200 pages, and I'm most of the way through reviewing that. We'll have to have some back and forth with the consultant. So I'm thinking, have the framework in place by the end, and passed by the end of January, and address the premium pay in February. Is
Okay.
realistic.
Is that an
timeframe.
answer to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. That's sort of the tentative plan then, to have that in place by the end of January and look at it in February.
Part of the framework and the policies that they're wanting, so, I mean, you all, I think that you had that whole thing. I don't remember now, but it's one of the policies that they want is a grant application process and, a grant approval process and tracking and all that, which we don't really have in place. And so one of the policies that they want to have passed is for any grant, the application should come here. The board should be approving it and accepting the grant. And that there needs to be a designated person tracking and making sure all the grant requirements are met. So that's a big change from what we're doing now. But I will say, I think it's a necessary change because we're all over the place with grants and
Would that require some outside help?
not necessarily, it just is gonna require a little bit of restructuring or potentially changing duties within certain offices or adding at least a part-time employee to address that potentially. So just keep that in mind, but right now, a lot of the grants are coming through my office, but not all of them. And it really should be a centrally.
Now, are we talking like if the watershed board that was here wanted?
No, I'm talking about county departments.
Of county departments for grants.
Right.
Like if the emergency management did something?
Yes.
If all these should be circling back.
They should be circling through here and through the payables area so that we know we're in compliance when we're paying things out and when we're getting money in.
Yes.
And we also should be tracking our federal income, our federal, like items we purchase with federal money, we should have a separate inventory for those. And right now, we're not. We're just tracking it all together. So there's a couple of things that they want us to put in place, which I think are very valid and very
Right.
important.
Is all of that subject to audit?
Yes, it is subject to audit, yeah. Yep. So anyway, that's where, kind of we are with the framework, but I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that that's what, that one of the things that they're wanting passed is that it would be more of a central grant administration for the county departments. So that includes all the departments, including the health department, including, you know, just the county in general, but emergency management, sheriff, all those federal grants
I guess, Tina,
should be tracked through a central.
Sort of gonna have to say I apologize, because I thought that anytime any county department got a grant of any type, that it was at least a copy was sent here to keep track of.
Not necessarily.
Wow.
And even if it is coming through here, there's a lot of things we have to comply with, and I'm usually the one that has to sign off saying we're in compliance.
That's why.
And we don't ever have it, and so
Yeah.
that's been a struggle.
Yeah,
So anyway, that's one of the things they're asking for.
okay.
So just, I want you to be aware and be
No, that's
ready for
great.
that.
That's great. I think that needs to happen, because we've got to have somebody, as we've seen in the past, keep track of things. So, yeah, cool. So,
Anyway, I think by the end of January, that should be all kind of nailed down and ready for the board to approve and
Okay.
pass, and then that we'll have to have some training with department heads on some of those things.
okay. Any other commission comments? Okay. With that being said, I'd like to ask Commissioner Mueller, what kind of time frame you think we need for this next issue?
15 minutes?
15 minutes, okay?
That sound right?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I move that we recess into executive order and discuss preliminary acquisition of property for number 6, which is preliminary discussion of acquisition of property pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, for a matter of 15 minutes with the board and Tina.
Can we start at 1:40?
Yes.
Get a couple minutes. break?
Yes. Start at 1:40
Yes.
and be done at 1:55.
2-minute recess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second the motion.
Okay, have a second by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
When you come back, we can close the door.
Give him his duty, yeah? Yeah.
I think I can go 15 minutes. Then it's my turn.
Red light's still on.
I know, I'm trying, it's not.
It's not listening?
It's not listening, so I'll
Ah.
have to come over and convince it.
That new system's looking better all the time.
It finally popped up.
You got it.
Lights on.
It finally popped up.
Good job. Okay.
It wasn't there in the beginning.
Out of executive session, no action taken. If nobody else has anything, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Thank you, Tina, for your research and help today.
You're welcome. Want you to shut them.
No, we need to train you.
That's okay.
Well, it still won't shut off.